how big that earthquake is. They're definitely pretty scary, especially if it's your first one.
Right, 3.8 is definitely what we call feelable, but thankfully not really much damage or anything more than just an eyebrow raising for some and some excitement for others. But let's take a look at where that earthquake occurred this morning. Again, that was centered basically southeast of Oakland, which is the southeastern side of the Bay Area. And since that time at 8:30 when we had the 3.8, just 37 minutes later, a 3.0 aftershock kicked in, and some time later, a couple more smaller little shakers bumped up as well. So that is something that typically is nothing to be alarmed about or nothing unusual. This is indeed a quake that is not large, but it's definitely not too tiny to be felt. Well, currently we're looking at a sky that is mostly sunny, some high clouds and some cumulus clouds to our east right now, but the temperature is the top story, 94. What does that mean? 15 days of heat wave number 3 has ended today. That is right. We had a heat wave that was going on and on and on and on for more than 2 weeks long, and then boom, it's out, and the wind is coming in to flush its remnants out of the valley. And that's what we're looking at here on this Thursday. Even the deserts are far from hot. 95 in Ridgecrest, not even 90 in Edwards. Lancaster even better at 84. Tehachapi comfortable along the 58 to 82. Gorman, the hills above town that is, in the low 70s. And the SFV, Van Nuys checking in with 80. Vegas, not even 90. Look at that, 88 degrees at this time in August. So nothing at all to complain about weather-wise around the region from central California up into the mountains and down through the deserts where the blue is winning the battle. -4, -5, or -6 out our door. That is the temperature change from 24 hours before, and that cool down may not be done yet. Just wait till you see that 7-day. Let's take a look at the forecast for the next several days in a minute. Why is this happening, you may ask? Well, the reason is, in a nutshell, we've got that hot high on out of here. Now, we've got some moisture that has snuck in over the recent days. You may have seen some of those clouds out of the monsoonal flow. Barely a holler locally, but we've got some lightning activity over the Sierra, north and east into Nevada. Lots of lightning and some downpours, too. To our west, we've got this flow coming in, actually originating from British Columbia to the north, dropping south into the Pacific, and then rounding the base, moving into central California out of the south and west, dropping those temperatures comfortably. Also, those high clouds, yeah, they're coming out of thousands of miles of tropical moisture that has some action. We'll take a look at that later on in the hour. What in the world is happening down there and how that could affect Hawaii, just coming up in a moment. Okay, let's take a look at the numbers for Friday. If you may be traveling and you already are missing the triple digits, as if you would have to, go to Palm Springs. There's a chance for you tomorrow. Vegas and Havasu, a chance of thunderstorms by afternoon. That is once again to kick off the weekend. Let's take a look at the numbers. For Fresno, maybe topping off in the low 90s. Monterey, not even 70. Look at that temperature. Now let's take a look at the South Valley 7-day. Here is a look. Can we find 100? Not really. Not in the next 7. Perfect forecast, huh? The mountains, even cooler. Into the 80s overnight, into the 50s. The KRV. Sounds good to me. Low 90s for you. And the deserts, the best chance of 100 in Kern County will be here early to mid next week. Otherwise, it's time for your hydration.